Thank you, Div. Div, can you hear me okay? Just a quick sound check.
Yep, you're sounding great.
And is my screen there, is it good?
Yes.
Are you seeing the controls, or do I need to minimize those down?
Nope, we're not seeing the controls.
Okay, perfect. Well, hello everyone, and I hope you had an uneventful October 15th filing last week. We obviously strategically place these webinars with your schedule in consideration, and we hope that the next 50 or 55 minutes that I can communicate to you in an effective manner, that you find a few useful tips from this webinar. So I want to start with just kind of what are the objectives and what are we trying to accomplish today. We want to show you how some cloud technologies can improve your processes, and we want to look at this. Again, as Div mentioned, I've been in this business for 32 years, 30 plus years. I was around as a practitioner during the mainframe days, and then the migration to micro, and then from DOS to Windows, and now Windows to obviously cloud. And what I want to try to communicate today is let's take a look at our processes internally to our firms, and let's see if we can use this shift to really take advantage of it and make more money, as the title slide indicated. I'm going to give you a little profile of what some of the more progressive firms that we interact with are doing today. I want to show you a couple of slides of what we call the existing model versus the cloud model, and then just spend a little bit of time on 2 or 3 what we think are real cloud benefits, and to say it another way is benefits that wouldn't exist in the existing distributed model world, where you're running software mostly off of your desktop or off of your server in your office. So with that said, let's jump right in. What does the progressive firm look like, and what are they doing that you might find of interest? Well, first of all, they've already moved to the cloud, and they've definitely jumped in the cloud and looked at technologies that are cloud-based and that are leading-based technologies from a lot of different vendors, and they've moved their firm, and they've made the commitment. They've made the mental decision and the mental commitment from not only the partners in the firm but the staff, that we are moving to the cloud, and we're going to get away from some of the challenges we have in our existing model. We're going to take a poll question right after this slide about some of the challenges that you might have, and see where you land in this category. But they're not just moving their firm into the cloud, they're moving their clients into the cloud. And so a key question that you might have in the back of your mind is, that sounds okay, Jeff, and maybe we've talked about it a little bit, but how are they doing that? So in our survey and in my travels this year around several hundred different CPA firms and in conversation with them, we have found that they've done a couple things that are common. One, they have communicated to their clients that they're moving to the cloud, and they have worked with us if they're using our products, but they've worked out a way to communicate to their clients that shows their client the benefit of moving to the cloud, not just about them. And I know you may be thinking, well, they may think that now it's all about just getting a cheaper fee out of my CPA. That's actually not it at all. And we'll dive into that a little bit as well as we go through today. But they're really communicating with them. Some of them are selecting their more advanced, technologically advanced clients to move first, and some are doing it just in broad-based groups of clients. They're supporting them, and this is a different kind of support. This is not just answering their tax, accounting, or business question. Those are very important, but they're also supporting them in a step-by-step way of how to use the new applications, how to look at moving data to them when they might have just been using email, how to get more out of the payroll. And they're really working closely with their clients to help with that migration. You can't just tell them we're moving by this date and that's it. they're ahead of a lot of what we call the traditional vendors, kind of pushing them to that, which is kind of where we all were when we went from mainframe to micro, and I'm guessing most everybody on the phone remembers Y2K, and we were kind of pushed out of DOS into a Windows world around 14, 15 years ago now, and they're staying ahead of that. They don't like to just be pushed and told what to do. And then the last kind of key point or common thread across all these firms is that we're seeing them create their own ecosystem. And this can be software from a lot of different vendors that help support their firm and help support their client base, whether they have high-end inventory type clients or they have mostly smaller service type customers, or a combination thereof. They're using other parties' software and third parties unrelated sometimes to even this industry, but to the client's industry, to integrate and create their own enhanced workflow and an enhanced ecosystem to better support their client. And so that's kind of the big view, and we're going to dig into quite a bit more detail as we go through today's presentation. So with that, Div, can we bring up the first poll question?
Sure, I will go ahead and launch that right now. And attendees, you should be seeing the poll question open in front of you right now. Which of these challenges are slowing your migration to the cloud? Please select one. I'm waiting on my software vendor to force me. I don't have the correct infrastructure to make the move. The benefit is unclear. I like being reactive and being told what to do and when. I can move but can't get my clients to. So please select the option that you feel is the best response for you. Click Submit. And just a reminder that responding to all three of the poll questions is required in order to receive CP credit.
All right, so let's, I think the poll is open now, Div, and we'll let that progress and let you tell me the progression, and we'll go from there, look at the results.
Sounds good. We'll take about 10 more seconds here for people to go ahead and get in their response. And remember to please select an option and click Submit there. Okay, so I'll go ahead and close it. And so, Jeff, the results that we see here are pretty evenly split between three options. I don't have the correct infrastructure to make the move, the benefit is unclear to me, and I can move but can't get my clients to.
All right, so when we think through this, let's just talk about this just a little bit. One, with what I would call a real cloud-based solution, and one that we support here at AccountantsWorld, is around infrastructure. And what we did with our products is we built all of these cloud-based products from the ground up. And what that means is we have the luxury of just hosting this where you can run it basically in any environment you choose to, including a Mac. And you can also, if you can connect to the internet, you can run our application, and they perform and they're made to run just that way. So all of our products are hosted on Amazon.com, so stay a little bit cleaner. If you can get to Amazon, you're going to be able to see some of these products that I'm going to show you a little bit about today. So that's kind of how you get over the infrastructure. Can I get to the internet? I would also make an argument that if you're doing tax returns, which is basically all of you, you have to have access to the internet today because you are electronically filing all of those returns. That's now mandated. The benefit, I'm going to try to take you through that and show you a little bit more about how to change some of this, change the game a little bit from what we've been doing as CPAs for all these years, and I'm going to try to clarify some of that over the next couple slides. And I can move but can't get my clients to. And actually I thought that would be the one that the vast majority would fall into. And a big part of that, and again going back to my previous comments, is on not only which clients you select and which order you do it in, okay, because you're going to have some years where it's going to take more than 1 year to get everybody to move, okay, but it's also how you move them. And what I mean by that is you have to kind of hold their hand and assist them, and certainly you know them much better than we would, but you would know which ones to talk to and which ones are going to have challenges et cetera, et cetera. And so a key point there is to make sure that you give them enough time to your staff enough time or yourself enough time to support them as needed. And I know that's a little bit hard to budget or predict, but we do know that the ones that have helped their clients, they have the highest retention and stick rate and the best overall migration to the cloud. So let's take a look-see at what we call the current model of client accounting. When you look at kind of the distributed model and the small businesses in America, you know, it's driven a lot by the DIY market, the do-it-yourself market, and in fact there were ads that were kind of 20 years ago, 30 years ago when these products came out, basically saying you didn't need to have an accountant, you could do it on your own, and that's been you know, a confusing, not only a confusing message, but counter to your productivity and your growth and opportunity. And so the clients are in that middle circle, those yellow circles, and they're very tied to answering the questions, following the menus, doing exactly what the software tells them to do, even if it's not good accounting. And then you're kind of on the outer circle, and you're also in a reactive circle because you only get this information once a week, sometimes once a month, once a quarter, once a half year, or once a year. The frequency varies based on the client for sure, but you're always reacting to what's already been done, and that's typically called, you know, kind of a post-mortem or a reactive model. You know, I talk to, again, a lot of partners and sole practitioners, and time again in this model I hear them ask the question, I wish my client would have called me before they did that, you know. And I know you're saying to yourself, yes, I've had that happen at least, you know, 5 times this year, Jeff, or however many times. And that's been true every year. We've all been in this reactive post-mortem mode. And so what I want to propose to you is another model. And what I will call, or what we call here at AccountantsWorld, the Accountant-Centric model. And hopefully you notice right in the middle is you, okay? You're actually at the center of the accounting function and the accounting activities of your client instead of the software being in the middle, okay? And then your clients, as you can see the overlap, they're all connected directly to you and securely to you, but they're using you to be more proactive, okay? And then the software is around the outer level because that is here to support you. Our product is called Accounting Power, and it's here just to support you, okay? And that's what we call the accountant-centric model. We're going to dig into that a little bit more, and I'm going to show you some screens as well. So what do we mean by Accounting Power? Well, first and foremost, it's one unified system, okay? And you see that overlap there of the blue circle of the professional system with the key features you would expect in there. We're going to show you how some of these what we think are pretty unique things, such as alerts, actually work in our product. And then you see the right circle, the bookkeeping module, where you see banking, sales, expense, job costing, and inventory. And we're going to show you a new slide that we call a permission slide, not new to us, but maybe new to you, and why that matters and how that works. The middle part, I'd like for you to think of that as just not only just the overlap as described here graphically, but really one common client database, okay? And not only that, one version of the software. I'll say that again because I think that's very key. One client, one common database, and one version of the software. And what's key is the part that the client accesses, you actually control. And we're going to show that here just real quick. Okay. What does this mean? What is the benefit of that one client database and that one version of the software? Well, it means the following. There's a streamlined workflow in the accounting process, right? The client enters the data, you make adjustments, they create financial reports, you automatically can download, they can access via the portal any time of the day, any day of the year, and they have dashboards that you can control with them. So this workflow significantly streamlines the entire accounting process. You know, a lot of times we've gotten focused on tax software dictating the workflow and the process. Sometimes we've gotten focused on how paper moved around in the old world in terms of my office and creating a process around that. And now we're submitting to you that the cloud and cloud technology changes all of that. And if we can get ahead of it as a firm, we can control our own destiny in a different manner. And we can use this new technology to create a new and more efficient workflow and a better workflow for not only us but our clients as well. Okay, Accounting Power solves your problems, and here you see on the left the minimize and eliminate client errors, and you can see it obviously does customizable financial statements, but it also does a few other things. One, the sharing of documents, they're all the same document now, so that's easily import, export, to use older terminology. There's no risk of data loss, no chasing after clients' data. You know, we all have to do that. We even had to do that last week to get last-minute tax returns on extension in the door. You know, I heard one CPA tell me, Jeff, we actually worry more about them than they do. And what he meant by that is I'm always calling them. I'm always saying I still need that information, etc. And this streamlines the process, and it gives you tremendous productivity gains. You also don't have to worry about licensing, version control. It's all one version, all current, all the time. We're going to show you a couple screens here real quick on what it actually looks like within the application. So when we look at this accountant-centric model and system, you see here just the first clean an easy login screen, and it's just sort by name, or you can sort it by code. You click here and it populates the entire screen, and it brings up all of your clients based on which ones you've worked in the most current order. Okay, you can also sort by client code. You can, if we have any updates or anything that you need to know about, you'll see those from us nightly right here in this section where it says take a look at the new Accounting Power update. Okay, this screen is one of my favorite screens, and I want you to kind of look at this screen with me for just a minute. And this is our permission screen. So if you see the word company highlighted, and you see over here permissions where the check box is right here, if you can see my cursor, it'll bring up a thing called client permissions, client account permissions. And here you check these boxes, okay? Allow client access. Now, if you don't check that box, they're not going to have any access to do anything. So obviously you want to check that and have them do a few basic things, right? Do you want them to, in this case, accounts receivable and payable is checked, and then we've highlighted in the middle, enter bills and pay bills. So if you want to allow your client access and control, you know them better than anyone. You know them better sometimes than they do themselves. And so what this screen does, which is why I'm so excited about it, is I can allow a more sophisticated client that has a very competent staff and experienced staff, you know, access to enter a lot of things and do a lot of things for us, and that's the relationship they may want to have as well. Or if they're the other side and they're just starting, typically a small business is just getting started, they may not want to do anything other than just enter bills and pay bills. And we'll show you what that looks like in the next few screens. We're also going to talk about how there's another option within all of this here in a few more slides called Complete Accounting Services. Okay, so when we look at the client bookkeeping system for novices, you know, this is obviously just a check register. Let's enter it. Let's pick the vendor. Let's enter the check and move on. So that's based on the access we gave them on the previous screen, and now they can just do a few basic things. And again, this is the type of small business that you're saying, I really want to control what all they do and how they do it. One thing that I do want to point out, and I just want to back up one slide here for a minute. We were, we've been doing this access screen that you control. We don't control it. You control it. for several years now, and it's one of our users' favorite screens. So it's interesting to us that in the QuickBooks product today, their online product, they announced something not quite as robust as this, but very similar. So we think that they're kind of trying to follow some of the things that we've already done, and we're excited that they're following us, and we're trying to stay ahead of the game here to enable you to become the center. So we looked at the check. Now let's take a look at the advanced bookkeeping system. This would be the side of the bookkeeping that you would look at and that you would be working in. You can see obviously what's under sales, and right up here we've got invoice checked, right? And now we're looking at this particular invoice, and we use these screens, you know, to make sure that we've got things recorded right, that we've got the right amount, the unit counts, the quantities, et cetera, that the client may or may not have entered or wanted us to do. So it's a very powerful bookkeeping system that we have access to. I've got a couple slides in here to show you a little bit more of the meat of the system, and then we'll move forward from there. On this slide, you can obviously see that you know, it's a trial balance slide, and you can see here to the right we've got the detail for this particular account. So it's got very powerful drill down capabilities in the trial balance area. Okay, and again, I know a lot of systems have that, but this is all being presented to you real time in the cloud with nothing installed locally. You just have to have, as I said earlier, access to the internet. One of the slides that we really like, and one of the features in the product we like, which is always presented via a slide, is this client summary slide. So this is a slide that a lot of our clients come into and look at each and every morning. And so what they do is they look for these red items, and these red items are alerts that they have set up, and this alert can also generate an email automatically from the system to both you and your client. And basically what this has done is it has said, you know, let's take a look-see at these items. So here on this Hanford Pruner Cattle and Grape Company, we have a couple alerts set up where we might have set up if receivables get over $1 million, show that to me. An alert, send an email, and then we may have something set up where payables, any one payable gets over $800,000, show me that alert as well. And so what this does for us as a CPA is it moves us from the reactive stage to the active stage in real time. Remember, I can pull this up each day, right? Certainly each week as new data gets entered, and I can look at these alerts, and I can proactively now have a reason to pick up the phone, call the client, and ask what's going on, and is there anything I can help you with? And that frequently turns the entire workflow around, and it frequently turns into another billable engagement for you, and it just ties you much closer to your client. We've talked to clients that say, I only get things from my CPA whenever there's a problem. He never helps me with other issues. And when we survey just small businesses, and when you see some of those surveys, the vast majority of them want their CPA to be more active in their business, and for us that means more real-time and current, not waiting until the end of the month, quarter, or the end of the year. It's these kinds of elements in the product that can absolutely make that happen in these client summary areas and these dashboards. Okay? So now I'd like to move to yet another opportunity that I mentioned in the first slide, the first opening slides. You know, when we think through cloud and the service opportunity, and again, if you'll just rethink for a minute your workflow, and I know that that's hard to do, and maybe now is one of the few times of the year you actually have a chance to think about anything other than getting a tax return or a month-end done. But this concept of complete accounting is really one that we think the cloud has embraced and enabled. You know, when you talk to most small business owners, running their business is very important to them, and that's what they love to do. And they had an idea, and they started to work on the idea and starting to really build up a good book of business. But doing the accounting is a kind of a necessary evil, if you will, that they'd love to just you know, outsource or have you do it. You're the CPA. You're better at it. And this is where we have coined a term, instead of saying DIY or do-it-yourself, we like to ask you to consider the term DDIY and tell your small businesses don't do it yourself anymore. So don't do it yourself. And the reason being is because we as your CPA can do it more efficiently, and we can deliver a lot more consistent, high quality, and help you with your business. These firms that have done this that we have talked to, not only are they getting really good earnings out of it, but the client retention rate is just really strong, because once they've gotten a taste of doing this, they don't want to do it. If it's a brand new company, they never wanted to do it in the first place, so that's kind of an easy one. And if it's folks that have done it before, small businesses that have done it before, and now they can actually get rid of that and maybe save some money on their own internal costs, that's also of high interest and high value, and it just puts you back in the center, which is what we're trying to do. All right, so let's take a look at what we actually mean by complete accounting services. We got a couple slides on this. This slide just describes what it includes: transaction processing, bill payment, GL, trial balance, a prep of financial statements, cash flow. We really want to get you into the virtual CFO category and show you how that could work, and show you some slides that we think are really dynamic in this area and really bring these things to life. Okay, so when we think through it, complete accounting is very efficient, and here's how a lot of them are doing it and how the workflow actually works. Client gets a bill, paper bill, just scan it in. Okay, bookkeeper, enter the transaction. Again, once it's entered, it's up there on the portal, ready to be viewed within Accounting Power. Bookkeeper does the entry, the client approves the bill, says okay to pay. The bill's paid by ACH, or you can print a paper check. It gives you the insight while the transactions are occurring to watch important business drivers, provide advice, guidance, all real time, and obviously you're still going to do the financial statements. Okay, so we think being involved in their business in a real time and keeping the errors in the bookkeeping mistakes from happening and entering things correctly and getting insight into what they're spending and what they're earning gives you some real opportunities, right? And so basically help you become a virtual CFO for these, their business. Now, you have the insights of looking at similar businesses. Some cases you might put in your some business analytics and look at industry standard types of businesses and give advice there to pay for. That's one of the many additional values you can see. And you can help them just not only run a better business, but really help them either expand if they're in expansion mode in terms of new locations, new products, new service offerings, where things are growing, and you can see that at an analytical level and convert data into information. You can also see very clearly where they're spending money and where they should be considering other options, other alternatives, cheaper options, and you will be the only one in the position to have that insight because of the second bullet. You're looking at several similar businesses and you see what one's doing in another, that you can port that idea or port that best practice over by advising another client. And you as the CPA are the only one in their service chain, in their service ecosystem that can do that for them. Sometimes they can get it over a casual conversation with someone in another field, but you're in a position to help them do this real time and, quite frankly, just help them run a better business. And when you help clients do that, your discussion about fees, not only can they go up, but it's a different conversation, and they really feel like you're a virtual CFO and you're a partner with them in this business venture. We got a couple snapshots here of what this can look like, and these are graphics, again, that we've had for several years, and again, others are announcing today that they're just now releasing these dashboards and snapshots. So I got two slides I want to show you. Again, you can expose these to your clients if you so desire. This is just a quick look at any one of your clients that you can dig into, each day, and just look at it graphically and say, okay, how am I doing against budget? Some small businesses don't even do a budget, and so, well, maybe now it's time to show them the importance of doing a budget, and we'll track it. Okay, we hear from you as the CPA that our clients relate to graphics much more than they do traditional format of financial information, whether that's an income statement or a P&L. So we've created a couple graphics, and we continue to add in this area. The first one on the top left is obviously the income comparison, so that's actual versus budget. You can see that's done in a bar graph. You can see in a line graph here, profit and loss comparison over a rolling, looks like 18 months, kind of a rolling 18 months here, where they're at and where they're going, and that's easy to understand. Okay, you can see down here in the bottom left just how are my expenses year to date, and how do they break out, and what am I spending them on? Well, you can look here and say, okay, I'm spending about 20%, 19% on commissions. I've got salaries in here at another 15%. You know, I've got just manufacturing and the widgets are costing me 21%, and so on. And these graphics are just meant to be a quick look, a conversation starter, and you as the CPA can take a quick look, expose this to your clients, and say, hey, we need to talk because some of these trends aren't looking too good, especially if we looked right here in June. We saw a big drop in profit, but maybe we knew that because we saw that we were prepaying some expenses, or we had a good opportunity to ramp up for the next month, which might have been one of our bigger selling months. Okay, so that's just one. The next slide I'd like to, at this time I'd like to just, oh, I'm sorry. Let's see here. Yeah, this next slide is a dashboard, and again, you can expose this to your clients, and they can see this as well. This is just showing me again some additional graphics, prior income comparison. How am I doing this year versus last? You know, and I frequently tell, and you guys do as well as CPAs, you know, when someone gives you a number, you really don't understand it until they give you some context. How does this compare to prior year? What does this number actually mean? And at a detailed level, which way has that number been moving, up or down or flat? You know, and with more context, you can obviously provide a much stronger analysis and an understanding of the business. And here we've done the same thing, so you can look at this. This is just the AR balances, the customer balances, the amounts that are due to your client. Okay, it could also be accounts payable as well. Okay, here we have cash balances, you know, in our account. We can set up alerts around each and every one of these items. And, you know, another thing that they like to see is what bills are coming up that I need to be paid in the next 30 days. So we have many different versions of this that you can customize these dashboards and bring in. And, you know, here you can see that we've got, you know, a couple pretty decent size expenses coming up here in the next 30 days to be paid. Okay? So with that, Deb, I think we've got the next poll question we'd like to bring up.
Sure. And Jeff, if you don't mind, I'm gonna put a question to you right now just before I put in the poll question.
Sure.
Francis asked, please clarify from the client point of view, what's the advantage for the client to move from working with QuickBooks Online to working with Accounting Power?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the bookkeeping module of Accounting Power, Francis, thanks for the question, is the area around control. Is it different than QuickBooks Online? Yes. We think it gives all the same essential core elements that your client needs, okay, to run their business, okay, and so that's one, okay. So the real emphasis I want to give you is that this is in the same database, and it's the same version of the software. There's no replication. There's no difference between what they're logging into and what you see, and you're all running the same version of the software in a cloud model. Okay, so that's very key, and again, you control what they can do in the software. Okay, thank you for the question. Very good.
All right, I'll go ahead and open up the second poll question here at this time. And so attendees, you should be seeing the poll question at this point. The question is, which benefits of using a cloud-based system are important to you? Please select all that apply, so you can select more than one for this question. I can tap into remote staff. I can help clients eliminate mistakes. Software version challenges go away. I control which part of the applications my clients access, or all of the above. So please go ahead and select all that apply, and then after you select them, you have to submit. You have to click submit in order for it to be counted. So we'll go ahead and take another 10 to 15 seconds here for people to go ahead and vote. And just a reminder that voting in all three of the poll questions is required in order to receive CPE for today's webinar. All right, so last call. Please get in your votes now. Okay, so I'll go ahead and close that. And so Jeff, 63% of people said all of the above, and then we had sort of an even split among the other four responses: clients' mistakes, software version challenges, and controlling which part of the applications my clients access.
What was the, and tap into remote staff, about the same, or was that
a little bit lower? 17% said that one, and 24%
okay.
for each of the other three options.
Okay, thank you. So let's talk just briefly about that. It's encouraging that you do see, and you know, we could probably put up 4 more advantages to the cloud-based system, but it is encouraging to know that you can control that is an important piece that you see in our application, which part of the applications that my clients can access. You know, that's not available in just any software. That's in our software. Obviously, we just showed it to you, but we do want to talk through that if we can get further up in the transaction chain, if you will, we can help eliminate mistakes. We can help with version controls, and you know, to some extent, maybe a few of you will want to tap into some remote staff. I realize that's a little bit less, but many of you said, okay, I'll select all of those apply as well, because I do believe that, you know, the ability with cloud-based software, it has to be available anytime, anywhere, and sometimes we feel like we're working anytime, anywhere, and we're working all the time, everywhere, and we can never get away with it. So I respect that as well. But certainly having the ability to control the application and making the versions of software go away should be, at a minimum, your expectation for cloud-based software as you make the migration. Okay, let's talk through another opportunity as we see it, and that's with this frequently used word called collaboration, and a word that's kind of been overused in the last 10 years is the word portal. And many firms are starting to see this as an opportunity to really change the game with their client. And I would submit to you, this is the easiest way to, migrate your clients to cloud-based software and improve the process. At a minimum, this is one thing you can do, and that is, let's really use our website as a collaborative space and not just a marketing me too kind of .com. Okay, and you know, what can we do there? Well, obviously we can create, you know, a secure real-time exchange of information. We can eliminate which version of the software do you have. We can you know, give our email servers a little bit of a rest in the background, and we can drive meaningful traffic to the website, because now they're coming up there to look for other things. And we've had numerous times where CPAs have been able to refer them to their website to read something or to research something, and that comes into yet another engagement. So that's been very positive, you know, and for us it works seamlessly with all of our products. Okay, so we're going to just show you one quick slide that I want to show you here. And this slide should look like, this is the accounting firm side of what should look like a website to you. Okay, and the graphics are on what's called a slider, and they change. Obviously here they're just in a static view, but this is welcome David M. He signed in, and here's all the products that he has access to. If we have to tell you anything, we will do that in terms of webinars, upcoming webinars, any announcements or what's news in the middle of my section. And then there's a client-facing view of this that is very, very similar. Obviously, it won't have the products there, but it will allow them to log in and put their information for just them up on your website, right? And that becomes very important as we get to these next few points, and then we'll show you exactly why. Actually, my next point is another opportunity, okay? So this other opportunity centers around payroll. Now, many of you kind of fall into a couple categories, or most of you will fall into a couple categories. One, we've looked at payroll, Jeff, and we never wanted to do it because we previously just all pain, no gain, okay, and we just don't want to go there, okay, so that's one view. Another view is we're doing it now, and sometimes just as a loss leader to get other engagements. That's we'll talk about that as well. And then a third say, no way, the risk is too high, it's not worth the reward. And you know, and I will tell you, in my days practicing on your side of the fence, I was in a couple of those camps at least a couple different times. What I will tell you is the cloud and cloud-based technology has changed this game dramatically, and I really mean that dramatically. And why? Well, it's got complete automation now, and so this is a system that not only completes the payroll and the computations for the states and localities, but it also direct deposits the employee and the contractor information. If they want to print a check and you have clients that just say, I have to have paper, then they come to your website. Again, I'm referencing back to your portal, your website. They can download the information and print the checks themselves. We support all the print stocks that are basically out there and available. We will automatically and electronically, you know, file the quarterly and year-end statements. That's a big concern. That had to be a separate step from my previous slide in a disparate system and manual work. Not anymore, all automated. Electronic payments to everywhere that takes them, which more and more are adopting that for payroll, just like they've been doing for years for income tax. Complete the year-end work with a few simple clicks and reviews. We even have a few clients that will approve payroll remotely just from their smartphone, and you can look at just a vast array of our comprehensive reports to help you keep up with each and every one of them. Okay, so the summary statement here is very true, that the cloud and cloud-based payroll systems now have completely changed this from an all pain, no gain to all gain with very little pain. And the pain, I would say, is in the first part, which is the setup of your client, getting that right, running that first payroll, and then watching it just to go from there. We have one client that's going to do close to 1 million checks this year with 3 paraprofessional staff. He has got this automation down, and obviously he's making a nice profit, nice margin on that offering. And here's what I think is the best part, okay, this next slide. You get paid automatically. I mean, CPAs, we're no different than anyone else in the sense that we don't like to have to chase down our fees or ask our fees. In some cases, we don't even like talking about our fees other than up front. But we certainly don't like calling and saying, why haven't you paid me? Nobody does. Here, you negotiate with your client up front, and you can enter your fees right here down in the compliance processing area, down in the per check fee, etc., base fee for employees. You can enter your fees, and that can bill monthly, or you can do as encouraged, just as you see on this screen. And guess what? We will automatically deposit it when the payroll's processed directly from their account into yours, and it's all done through ACH, and you're done. You're paid each and every month. You're paid automatically, and you're paid without any sort of conversation or uncomfortable follow-up of why haven't you paid my fee. It's all automated. This is one of the favorite things that CPAs have done with our system, and that's just put their fees right there. And I think with that, Div, I think we're ready for the third poll question.
All right, Jeff, I will go ahead and open up the third question here. Attendees, you should see it open at this point. by the end of 2017, what percentage of CPAs and clients will be using cloud-based software? Less than 20%, 20 to 50, 50 to 70%, or over 70%. So please select whichever one best represents your opinion and click Submit there. And just a final reminder here that voting in all three of the poll questions is required in order to earn CP for today's webinar. So we'll wait a few seconds here for folks to go ahead and vote. All right, and last 5 seconds here. Okay. So Jeff, we see 45% of people are predicting 50 to 70% of CPAs and clients will be using cloud-based software, and then about a quarter each for 20 to 50% and over 70%. But 50 to 70% is the runaway winner here.
Okay, so thank you, Devin. That's interesting. I'm actually encouraged to see that close to half of you think that it's going to be over half of the market. Well, if you've kept up with, one of the biggest players in this space is obviously Intuit, and they obviously have a big do-it-yourself market and presence, not only for bookkeeping and accounting, but for tax, and they continue to migrate into those areas. But they recently announced, Brad Smith recently announced that they expect 73% of their revenue to be totally coming from the cloud and cloud services by the end of 2017. And in fact, they go on to say that their executive compensation is all tied to that migration. So the push is on, I guess, is what we're hearing there, and that's clear. And so my question to you, if I could ask a follow-up, would be, why not, instead of waiting and being forced or having your client say, well, I'm already moved to QuickBooks Online, and now I'm just back to the old model where the software once again has dictated how my workflow is going to work. Why not try to get ahead of this game, take advantage of this game, and just say, you know what, I've got another way of doing this, and I really want to work through it with you, and I want to show you what I think you need to use and advise them. And they'll listen because you are their most trusted advisor, and you know that, and you are their most respected partner, you know that. And I just think that you have an opportunity here, as I said at the beginning, to really change your process, change your client's process, get out of this after the fact, post-mortem work for accounting and bookkeeping, and become more proactive in their lives to help them run a better business and ultimately you a better and more profitable business as well. So I don't know, Div, if we have any more questions that we need to cover. If not, I think that we're towards the end of our session today.
Okay, sounds great. Well, we'll take a look if any others are coming in. There were a couple of questions about how information from other systems can be imported into your system, and also about integration between the different solutions that AccountantsWorld offers. So if you'd like to address that.
I'm glad you did. I appreciate that. I'm going to take the first one first. Importing into our system is incredibly easy. Not only do we support direct conversions from all of the major products out there that you may be using, but we also provide templates, especially for things that we call kind of bulk imports like payroll, where you want to import employees. We provide you with a very nice Excel template that you can either input directly one time if you'd like to, or you can take it from another system. We also will take it directly from another system, but we format it into that Excel template that we provide you, obviously at no charge, and then it will take it straight into our systems. Our products are all tied together, not only within the same database, but within the same portal structure. So if I just back up here a minute to another graphic that helps answer that question, I'll show you a graphic that we think is pretty powerful in the sense of what this means. It's right here on slide 10. And what you can see is that these are functions, but this is could also be a very powerful product slide where each product is all integrated into the same central database, and it's the same access and the same version that you control for both yourself, your staff, as well as your client. Did I answer that, Deb? And what was the second one?
And then the second one was integration between Accounting Power, between Accounting Power and the other AccountantsWorld solutions as well.
Yes. So obviously there's a tight connection between Accounting Power and Payroll Relief. You know, month end as well as payroll end, whatever frequency that is. Those items are ready to post, and with a click of the button, they automatically post into the Accounting Power system, so you don't have to re-enter data. And those are two of the closest, because there's just, you know, payroll is one of those constants that has to be taken care of in a timely manner, and therefore it's a direct link in to the Accounting Power system.
Okay. Sounds great. So there are some other questions, and if for folks who've just handed in their questions within the past couple of minutes, we're going to sort of finish up the webinar here, but we will stay on to answer those questions as well for as long as is needed. So let me go ahead and take back over here. Okay, so again,